Weird lenses. Part 3. This is the Canon 55mm 1.2 FL breech lock lens. It is 58 years old, and it looks a little something like this. FL lenses are essentially FD lenses, but they were just the predecessor. The lens system itself works in a very similar way. The glass is very similar. The coatings are different and some of the elements are different, and the bodies are definitely different. These feature a breech lock, for example, which a bit like the reverse of positive lock, which is on the lens rather than on the body. They're really interesting. They flare like a mother, and they're just goddamn beautiful. Oh God, I love them. They're so good, but they're so weird. The 55 FL is 58 years old. It sounds mental that I'm using something this old on cameras that have only just come out or came out in the last few years. It's something I'm really passionate about. I really love it, and I think everyone who's getting into video or wants to be a DP or whatever, photographer, videographer, cinematographer, whatever you want to call yourself, you should really get into vintage lenses. You should have some vintage glass in your toolkit. Camera bag, Peli, case, whatever. Having vintage glass available to you will give you a completely different perspective. And that's the whole point of this series, is to show these weird little things, these lenses that do cool, mysterious, whatever, and give a little insight into why I or other DPs might use them. Cameras have got so good that they're too digital. There's a look that we all know. Call it the Sony look, the digital look, the whatever. When it comes down to creating something for a meaning, you need to utilize different creative avenues to make that vision come to life. Vintage glass can do that. This FL series has a red halation that you only really get with film or with shit lenses. And technically, even though this is 1.2, it is absolute trash of a lens. But I love it so much because of it. At 1.2, nothing is sharp. You get this weird diffraction, and the focus it doesn't hit, nothing bites. Funnily enough, the first job that I used it on, again, I bought this lens a day before using it, and it was on a whim. I was out with my AC and we went into Real Camera Co in Manchester. There's also one in Liverpool. Really cool place. Go to a vintage or used camera store, have a look around, play with some stuff, and yeah, you'll have a great time. Tested it out on one of my Sony cameras. I had a body with me. Then I instantly fell in love with it in the crap corporate-y lighting. I was thinking, this looks amazing. So then the next day, shooting this doc that is self-funded. I wanted to do it. It was a passion project. I couldn't help but use this lens the entire time, and everything was shot between this and then a 2-camera interview where the B camera was the Helios, another weird lens. Having vintage glass in your arsenal for changing the feel, the mood, the vibe of a video can really push the creative boundaries that you might already be in. If you're using super sharp stills autofocus glass, this is such a juxtaposition to that. It's such a change of feeling. The character that you get from the character that comes from these lenses is down to their imperfections, and those imperfections are what make things feel more real or cinematic. And I loathe using that word because it's so oversaturated and people are using it in such the wrong way. Whatever. That's not for today. There's nothing quite like using vintage glass properly. You can't quite emulate it no matter what you do in DaVinci, or if you do it in Premiere, whatever. You can't grade that in. It's the same with shooting on real film. You cannot perfectly emulate film. It doesn't happen. It's not real. And right now, real means more than anything else. The je ne sais quoi of a vintage lens, it feels good. It feels really good. And I would advocate for anyone to get a 50mm or get a set. Buying this lens then spurred me to buy a full set of FD lenses, another bunch of weird glass that I've got. The characteristics of this lens that I love the most are the warm flares. The actual flare themselves is really intriguing. I hadn't really seen that before in a lens, and part of that comes down to the type of glass and the coatings that are in them, and the fact that it's a little bit radioactive. So it degrades, it becomes worse. There's a yellowing to it, but it is absolutely stunning. Weird lens. That's it for part 3. I don't know if I covered everything then. I'm going to keep changing how I do this setup, whatever's easiest for me. I currently have no lights on, a window blind up, and a false skylight light. A7C. I don't even have it on a proper tripod. I have 3 tripods. I have 3 pretty amazing tripods. And I'm using a baby stand with a ball head adapter. And audio-wise, I quite like having something in my hand so that, because I do a lot of this, I'm just trying to stop myself from doing all that.